Archery is somewhat of an entrepreneurial sport you're getting into. And the reason I say that is because some of you watching this may be hearing it from the hunting standpoint. Others might be hearing it from the tournament side of things. But the reason I say this is because there's so many different avenues into archery that you can take that it's kind of a choice you have to make which road you want to go down. Hey guys, real quickly, I just wanted to talk about something that I think would help beginners and really just in general people wanting to get into archery. So right off the bat, I'll just say this: archery is somewhat of an entrepreneurial sport you're getting into, and the reason I say that is because some of you watching this may be hearing it from the hunting standpoint. Others might be hearing it from the tournament side of things. But the reason I say this is because there's so many different avenues into archery that you can take that it's kind of a choice you have to make which road you want to go down. And for those of you getting into archery, kind of the reason I wanted to make this video is just because, well, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great videos out there that I think are really good as well. But one thing that I happened to find for myself as a beginner on YouTube and everything was when I wanted to get into the sport of archery, I use YouTube to try and help me out. And well, at first, I just wanted to know what archery was all about, but nothing I found on YouTube at the time, and even now to this day, said really anything about what the sport was. So I just wanted to make this video from my 5 years of experience, and share it with you guys. So, alright guys, so I think the first avenue I'm going to dive down here is the bow hunting avenue, just because bow hunting is one of the simpler forms or areas of archery that there is. And before I get down to the target archery, which is quite a bit more complicated than bow hunting, I just kind of want to give y'all an overall idea or taste of what the archery experience for hunting can be. So for those of you who y'all might really be chomping at the bit to go kill your first white-tailed deer, or you want to be like one of those guys on the TV who like the hunting public, for instance. If you've seen them, they're always going out on public whitetail land to go kill them a white-tailed deer, and getting to watch all those cool hunting videos on YouTube or wherever you're watching from. It's really fun, and it can honestly, it can really kind of motivate you to want to get into the sport. Period. And I will say that despite that's not really how it happened for me, I can relate to y'all who are wanting that same experience. And for those of you who are wanting to get into the hunting aspect of things, like if y'all, like for instance, people who are on YouTube who are doing these hunting videos, like the hunting public I just mentioned earlier, to get into that side of hunting, it's kind of you can't do it right off the bat. Honestly, it kind of takes a gradual progression of getting knowledge about how to hunt the critters, and how to getting knowledge about kind of what the animals you're hunting use the land, and kind of how to figure out where they're going to be at. and also for you as a hunter to understand how to sneak through the deer woods and find these animals and be stealthy enough that you don't alert them of anything that they might get spooked of and run away from. So that can be a little bit complicated sometimes, but for those of you who are, but if you've never shot a bow before, what I would recommend is going to your local pro shop, just looking at some of the bows on the walls, seeing if you can maybe shoot a bow just to try it out, or if your buddy has one, you might see if they might let you shoot their bow just a little bit, just to get a feel for like what archery is like before you go and making your investment. Because I'll be honest with you, making an investment in archery, it can be pretty big depending on how far you want to go with it. And I'm not going to go into all that right now. I'm going to save that for a target archery when I get down to that, which it won't be too long from now. But if y'all want to go and skip forward to that, feel free to. So yeah, getting into bow hunting, I will say that to be able to kill an animal, though, you have to be able to get to the point where you can actually go out and kill an animal. You have to be practicing a lot. You have to be able to get to the point where you can actually go out and kill yourself an animal. You have to really be dialed in with yourself. And what I mean by that is have your bow dialed in, and have it all tuned and everything. And basically what I mean by tuning is being a mechanic, having a mechanic's work done so that your bow shoots the way it's supposed to, and making sure your sight is dialed in, whether if you're using a compound or a different bow that can take a sight, and make sure your arrow rest and everything is good. And also to be able to confidently go out into the field so you can kill an animal, you have to commit yourself to shooting your bow. And I know for some of you who might have a busy work schedule and have a hard time fitting that in with your life, you don't have to go out and practice every single day. Just go out and whenever you get a chance, or whenever you have a deep desire to go out and shoot your bow, that's when you ought to do it. And to be able to be confident in the field, you have to be confident on the range. You have to be able to know that you can. You have to be able to know you can execute a good shot on your bow, and know that, so that you know when you go out into the field, when the animal presents itself to you, when you're hunting, you know that you won't get buck fever, as some call it, be nervous and excited as everything. Try to real quickly, with your whole body tense and shaking, try to get your bow off the hanger. If you have a little hanger screwed or strapped to the side of the tree, or if you're holding it, so, slowly bring the bow forward to where you want to shoot, and position yourself to where you can take aim, where you can draw back and take aim, and if the deer's if the animal's watching you, slowly try to draw your bow back, anchor in, acquire the animal, which acquire the pin on the animal, which is basically placing the pin you want the exact yardage pin that the deer is at. Place it on the animal you're wanting to kill, right where it needs to be, and executing the shot when you're ready to. And yeah, so it can kind of get into some nitty gritty stuff, but it is one. But if you're not archery hunting, you won't. I don't. I'll just tell it straight to you. You're not going to be able to get as much excitement out of the whole ordeal as you would if you were. And just because there's just something about archery that resonates with you, that if you pull it off correctly, then you'll never want to go back to a gun, to be honest. That's how my first few hunts have been. That's how my hunts have been. I haven't ever really, ever since I got into bow hunting, I have never wanted to switch back to a gun. Of course, if I was ever going to do a big game hunt where I knew I could sneak up on the animal close enough to get a shot off, which for bows you have to get pretty close range to be able to shoot something and kill it, then I would probably take a gun. But overall, if I had to pick one weapon to use for hunting at all, it would die hard be the bow. That's just how much I have fallen in love with the sport of bow hunting, and that could be you if you get into it. Serious, if you get into it. Okay, guys. So now that I've kind of gone through the hunting aspect of things, I'm really going to go through the target archery side of archery. A little tongue twister there. Anyways, though, just to be playing with y'all, I'm just going to say it how it is. Target archery is the most complicated you can get into this sport. And the reason I say that is because you're not just physically shooting the bow, just having fun. Of course, that's what you want to do. That's really the purpose of getting into archery in general, is just having fun flinging arrows, getting to shoot your bow as much as you can when you want to and everything. But like, target archery has so much of everything. Has so much of everything combined in it. Like, for instance, your bow, what kind of stuff you have on your bow. If you're using a compound or a longbow or recurve, the physics in archery, and the science, which can kind of be overwhelming in a sense. And for those of you who are new to this, I'm not trying to overwhelm you at all. I'm just trying to give you I'm not trying to overwhelm you guys at all. I'm just trying to say to tell you kind of like all the aspects you can get into with target archery, which for y'all out there, for you out there getting to target archery, if you're new to archery in general and don't know about any of the pro archers out there, don't get too worried about it. It's if you take it one step at a time, you can get through it. If you take it one step at a time, you can really actually get into it pretty well, opposed to just trying to learn it all at once, because you're likely not going to really get anything out of it. Just because at the current state you'd be in, you won't be able to comprehend everything that you're trying to put in. But now if you have watched those pros, like for instance Jesse Broadwater or Levi Morgan, who are hitting 10x's all the time, constantly in tournaments and winning big money and everything, and big league tournaments. Those guys are constantly shooting their bows, shooting arrows, like 300 arrows, on a day-to-day basics. And to tell you the truth, shooting 300 arrows is basically like spending 3 hours just shooting your bow nonstop, which for which to shoot your bow that long, you kind of really have to be committed to it and really love the sport of archery to want to go that far into it. Which for those of you just starting out, and also people like the big pros and everything, they like to do archery so much that if it came down to it, if they were going to die pretty much, and they could only do one thing before they did, they'd probably be dying to shoot their bow as much as they could. Just to be honest with y'all. But besides all the complications of archery and everything, target archery is really probably one of the funnest areas in archery to get into, because you're not just going to tournaments if that's your thing, if that's what you want to get into, but you can also just go to little 3D courses every now and then, or like a Total Archery Challenge event, which if you don't know what that is basically you tour across the United States of America where these different courses are set up that you can go and shoot 3D targets at like 40 to 120 yards, pretty much, and get kind of a Western 3D experience, kind of like what Western hunting is like. And also another reason target archery can be really fun is because you're not only getting to enjoy the fact of shooting your bow whenever you can, you're also getting to interact with other archers, which us archers refer to that as the community. You're going to interact with other archers and going to have a really fun time getting to shoot arrows together, fling arrows, throwing in a little bit of archery sling there. But yeah, besides the whole complicated side of things that you can get into archery, you're also getting into some really fun and amusing side of things in archery. And also along the way, you can also learn some really neat things like how to build arrows, how to tune your bow, and kind of how to run stabilizer weights, which are these things right here that help you aim better. I like to use them personally, and and despite I'm using a hunting bow, I know I'm using some longer ones, but to be able to shoot 60 plus yards and get a good grouping down there that's like this, it's really handy to have something like this on your bow. But I will say for you, I will say though, if you're just kind of wanting to get in, but I will say again, archery is a commitment that you're getting into. It's not necessarily a deal where you can just decide to pick up a bow one day and then a year later decide to pick it up again. No, if you really want to get good at it, and if you really want to try to progress in the sport, you have to have a good drive or a serious want or a really compassionate want to be able to shoot your bow whenever you can. And also another reason is because, well, like all things these days, when you get into a big sport, it can get expensive, and that's the same thing with archery. Like this bow right here, it's got like a 15-inch front bar and a whole lot of stuff on it. Not a really nice sight on it. This bow is probably worth like $3,000, and I could be blowing your socks off right now, or you could be spitting out your coffee if you didn't even know that archery could be that expensive, but trust me, it can be. And so that's another reason why. And if you don't really have the, and also and so if you don't really have the money, not trying to put you down or anything, but if you don't think you can, if you can't really afford a whole lot, then it's probably going to be a little bit harder for you to get into archery. Not just with buying all the equipment and everything, but like having to buy arrows, because granted, granted this doesn't happen all the time, but just over a period of however often you shoot your bow, you're going to lose arrows eventually, and nowadays arrows can get pretty expensive. But yeah, besides all that, archery is a really fun sport to get into. You not only get to, if you're going to the hunting side of things, if you're not only getting to target archery, but you're getting into the hunting side of things, you can really figure out some different things about archery. You can kind of relate some things from target archery into hunting a little bit. Like, for instance, stabilizers and all the archery equipment and everything. And yeah, archery is just one of them, in my opinion, one of the funnest sports nowadays to get into. It's one of the biggest and fastest sports that's growing nowadays. And if you stick with it, if you stick with it and stay committed, and shoot your bow whenever you can, I guarantee you're gonna have a blast at it. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed this video, consider sticking around, hanging out. I'm thinking about making a series based on kind of beginner getting to archery. And if y'all are curious to know more or learn more about this, y'all might like seeing what else I might decide to come out with. But yeah, this is the end of the video. If y'all have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, so I can get to them whenever I can and answer whatever questions you might have. And yeah, help you guys out that are interested in the sport of archery. Unfortunately, apparently. And yeah, that's all I got for today. And yeah, see y'all on the next one, guys.